My name is Lauren Mitchell, and at 28, I thought I had carved out a life worth celebrating. A steady gig as a digital marketer in Seattle's buzzing tech scene, a cozy Capitol Hill apartment with a view of the Space Needle, and a family bond I'd nurtured through thick and thin. Growing up in a modest Tacoma suburb, I'd always been the responsible one, the big sister who stepped up when our parents struggled with medical bills after Dad's factory layoff. But nothing could have prepared me for the searing betrayal from my younger brother, Ethan, and his girlfriend, Riley, after I'd poured my heart and savings into their lives. For 2 years, since Ethan lost his tech startup job during the pandemic layoffs of 2023, I'd been their safety net. They'd settled into a trendy Fremont loft with high ceilings and exposed brick, a place they couldn't dream of affording on their own. I covered their $1,200 monthly rent, shelled out $6,000 to cover moving costs when they upgraded from a cramped studio, bought their furniture, a $2,500 mid-century modern couch, a sleek dining set with matching chairs and a custom coffee table, and sent $400 a month for groceries, utilities, and the occasional takeout splurge, all drawn from my marketing salary and a small inheritance from Grandma. All told, I'd given them over $35,000, a sum that forced me to skip vacations to Hawaii, cancel my gym membership, and subsist on instant ramen and discount coffee to stretch my budget. Ethan was my little shadow, the kid I'd defended from bullies, helped with homework, and cheered on when he landed that startup gig. Riley, with her infectious laugh and constant sis endearments, made me feel like an honorary member of their duo. So when they finally bought their first house, a charming Ballard bungalow with a garden and a wraparound porch, I was over the moon. I'd contributed $5,000 from my year-end bonus to their down payment, spent weeks researching local contractors to ensure the place was move-in ready, and planned a housewarming party to celebrate their milestone. I invested $300 in a floral dress with a flowing skirt, ordered custom balloons and fairy lights, baked a batch of Grandma's chocolate chip cookies, and set aside a $2,500 gift to help them furnish the guest room, picturing toasts, laughter, and family photos against the backdrop of their new home. 2 days before the party, Riley texted with a casual tone that belied the sting. "Hey, sis, the housewarming's super intimate, just special people who've been our rock through it all." The words crashed over me like a Puget sound wave, cold, relentless, and disorienting. Special people. I'd paid their rent for 24 months without a missed payment, funded their move, co-signed their mortgage to boost their credit score, and even covered the $1,000 they'd spent on a hot tub for the backyard. Yet I wasn't invited. That night, restless and unable to quiet my mind, I scrolled through Instagram, my thumb trembling as I opened Riley's stories. There they were, her parents laughing on the porch, Ethan's college buddies clinking beers by the hot tub, the bungalow aglow with string lights and laughter. The caption read, "Blessed with our true support squad in our new home." I wasn't in a single photo, my contributions erased as if they'd never existed. I sat in my apartment, the dress hanging limply in my closet, the balloons deflated in their bag, the cookies hardening on the counter. The betrayal wasn't just exclusion, it was a deliberate erasure of my role, a message that my sacrifices were transactional, not familial. I cancelled my party plans, tossed the cookies into the trash, and spent the evening staring out at the city lights, tears blurring the Space Needle's silhouette as I questioned every dollar, every late-night work shift, every skipped joy to keep them afloat. A week later, Ethan called, his voice thick with desperation. "Sis, the mortgage payment's due and we're short. The bank's on our case. Can you spot us $1,200? You forgot this month forgot." I'd never missed a transfer, sacrificing my dreams of a trip to Olympic National Park, my weekly yoga classes, and even new clothes to ensure their stability. "Ethan," I said, my voice calm but laced with a steel I didn't know I possessed, "I only help special people who include me in their lives." Silence stretched like a taut wire across the line. "What does that even mean?" he stammered, a hint of irritation creeping into his tone. "You know exactly what it means," I replied and hung up, my hand shaking as I ended the call. That day, I logged into my bank app, cancelled every recurring payment to their account, and felt a mix of relief and dread as the transaction stopped. My money, my future, my independence was mine to reclaim. The backlash was immediate and invasive, a storm I hadn't anticipated. 8 days later, I returned home from a grueling day at work, my arms laden with grocery bags, to find my apartment door slightly ajar. My heart pounded as I pushed it open, the familiar scent of my space tainted by an unfamiliar tension. Ethan and Riley were in my living room, rifling through my desk drawers, bank statements, credit card bills, my laptop open to my online banking portal. They'd used the spare key I'd given them for emergencies back when trust was a given, back when I believed family meant forever. "What the hell are you doing?" I demanded, my voice shaking with a fury that surprised me. Ethan spun around, his face pale and sweaty. "Sis, we're worried about you. You're acting crazy, cutting us off like this." Riley stepped forward, her usual bubbly demeanor replaced by a rehearsed concern. "We brought Mr. Harlan, a lawyer. He's here to help us help you." A middle-aged man in a cheap suit emerged from the shadows, holding a worn leather folder. "Ms. Mitchell," he began, his smile a polished mask, "your brother believes you're experiencing mental instability, paranoia from your high-pressure job, erratic financial decisions like stopping support. We're here to discuss a power of attorney to manage your affairs and protect your interests." My stomach dropped, a cold dread settling in. They weren't just after my money, they wanted to declare me incompetent, to seize control and lock me into their narrative. "Get out," I hissed, grabbing my phone from my bag. "All of you, now, or I'm calling 911. Riley's eyes widened, a flicker of panic crossing her face. "Sis, you're not yourself. Let us help you through this." I dialed the first 2 digits, my finger hovering over the 3. "Out!" I shouted, my voice echoing off the walls. They scrambled to leave, tripping over each other in their haste, but Harlan's parting words chilled me to the bone. "This isn't over, Miss Mitchell. Your family has legal options." I couldn't sleep that night, the violation replaying in my mind like a broken record. My own brother invading my sanctuary to strip my freedom. The next morning, bleary-eyed and resolute, I called my best friend from work, Taylor, a graphic designer who'd navigated a similar family betrayal with her cousin. Over coffee at a local cafe, the aroma of roasted beans a small comfort, she listened intently, her brow furrowing. "That's textbook manipulation," she said, pulling out her phone to scroll for a recommendation. "You need Elena Vasquez. She's a Seattle family law attorney who specializes in financial abuse cases, even among siblings." That afternoon, I sat in Elena's office, a sunlit space with bookshelves lining the walls, tears streaming as I laid out the story. $35,000 in aid, the housewarming snub, the break-in. "Lauren," Elena said, her voice steady and commanding, This is sibling financial abuse. It's manipulative and illegal under Washington state law. We'll build a case and fight back with everything we've got. Eleanor helped me compile a comprehensive dossier of evidence. Bank transfer records totaling $35,000, receipts for furniture, moving costs, and the down payment contribution, screenshots of texts from Ethan begging for more money with increasingly desperate pleas, sometimes daily, over the past 6 months. I installed Ring cameras around my apartment that set up a quiet rebellion with Taylor, Mia, Jordan, Sam, and even my neighbour Mrs. Kim as witnesses to my composure and clarity as we mounted them. Eleanor arranged a psychological evaluation with Dr. Kim, a specialist in stress-related claims, who conducted a 2-hour session probing my work-life balance, social connections, and decision-making process. Her report confirmed my mental health was robust for 28, highlighting my high-functioning career, active friendships, and thoughtful financial choices. I opened a new bank account at a credit union, transferring my funds and freezing the old one to prevent any unauthorized access, a process that took an entire afternoon of phone calls and paperwork. But their aggression didn't wane. 3 weeks later, a social services worker from King County Adult Protective Services, Ms. Patel, knocked on my door, her clipboard a symbol of their reach. "Ms. Mitchell," she began, her tone neutral but probing, "we've received reports of self-neglect, paranoia with security cameras, financial isolation from family, possible hoarding of funds or medications." The accusations bore Riley's manipulative fingerprints, a script I could almost hear her rehearsing. They'd fabricated stories of me stockpiling cash in my apartment, my savings were in accounts, ignoring utility bills, everything was paid via autopay, and neglecting my health, my VA-inspired annual checkups were current. I called Elena, who arrived within the hour with my evidence binder, her heels clicking with purpose. "This is baseless harassment," she told Ms. Patel, laying out bank records, Dr. Kim's report, and witness statements from Taylor and my colleagues. Ms. Patel's expression shifted from concern to skepticism as she reviewed the documents, her pen pausing mid-note. She closed the investigation on the spot, advising me to consider a restraining order and offering a sympathetic nod before leaving. Then came the lawsuit, a formal escalation that turned my personal hurt into a public battle. Ethan and Riley filed in King County Superior Court, seeking a limited guardianship over my finances, claiming career-induced paranoia and incompetence in managing assets due to my obsessive work habits and recent irrational decisions. Their witnesses included Riley, who painted a tearful picture of a sister lost to stress, a neighbour named Chris, who'd complained about my late-night work calls disturbing his sleep, and my former banker, Ms. Gomez, tricked into signing a statement about unusual transfer patterns, which were all to Ethan and Riley. Eleanor and I countered with a robust defence. We visited Ms. Gomez at her bank branch, a quiet space filled with the hum of ATMs, where she was visibly shaken, explaining Riley had posed as my concerned sister-in-law, requesting account verification forms. She signed an affidavit clarifying the transfers were voluntary, consistent, and documented, her signature trembling with regret. Chris's testimony fell apart under Eleanor's cross-examination. He admitted he'd never spoken to me directly, his paranoia claims based solely on seeing the camera installers and hearing my occasional Zoom meetings through thin walls.